All right, we're just making sure we can get the recording up and going before we get started. Perfect. Thank you all for coming this evening. I'm very excited to see the big turnout and very excited that it did not snow tonight, so we didn't have to postpone this. So thank you all for coming. I think we had a lot of great conversation up at the boards. One thing I want to keep everybody in mind of is that we will be around after if there are some additional specific questions that you want to ask of any of us. So don't be shy. Feel free to stop in and talk to us. Our reason for coming tonight is basically to give a general overview of the next project that we're going to be looking to advertise, which is the Nashua Merrimack Bedford 13761B project, which the plans you guys have been looking at tonight. On this side, we have the Wire Road, and on this side, we have Babusick Lake Road. Both of these bridges are part of that one project, and what we're going to be doing is just talking about these two projects or these two bridges this evening. We will do a quick overview of where the rest of the projects are, but our focus is going to be on these projects right here. With me tonight, well, first I should introduce myself. My name is Wendy Johnson, and I'm an NHDOT project manager. So how this works is the NHDOT has a lot of projects and we have a lot of staff, but we don't have a lot of staff to be able to cover much larger projects like this. So we team up with other individuals or other companies. And in this case, we've teamed up with McFarland Johnson. They're the prime consultant on this project and been doing the primary design on it. Other members of the DOT that I brought with me this evening are Wayne Brooks and Dan Primo from our highway design section, and Dina Ray from our right-of-way section. So if you have any specific right-of-way or property impact questions, she's going to be the one you're going to want to talk to. And then from managing the project management team, lead for McFarland Johnson is Brian Colburn.
Thank you. Also with me from McFarland Johnson is Brian Patinskis. He's been helping with the roadway design. And Chris Gagney has been doing a lot of the bridge design on this project. So this did work a little while ago.
While Brian is getting that working, I did want to say that we will be taking questions and answers at the conclusion of the slideshow.
See if it just got okay. Here we go. Sorry about that. So this is a brief agenda of what we're going to cover in this presentation. It should take about 20 to 30 minutes to run through. We'll answer questions at the end. And as Wendy said, we'll be here until the last question is answered. So we'll do a brief overview of the whole project and why it's needed, and then we'll really focus in on these two roadways and the bridge replacement projects. Dina will go over the right-of-way process for people that are concerned with that. We'll wrap up with the construction schedule. So I know this map might be a little small, but essentially what it's trying to say is that there are three sections of the turnpike that were still 2 lanes in each direction between Nashua and Manchester. The purpose of this project is to widen those last 3 segments to 3 lanes in each direction. We refer to them as south, middle, and north. There'll be at least 5 construction projects. 2 of them are already underway. You've seen the one up at the 293 interchange that's more or less wrapping up early this year. And then there's the one between exit 12 and 13 that just started last year. We'll be replacing 5 bridges and rehabilitating them. And then at the interchanges, exits 10, 11, and 12, we'll be finishing up the removal of the toll plazas, really narrowing the ramps so they look like normal size ramps and not extra large wide ramps without much pavement markings on them. This image is twisted, so now north is to the right, Manchester's to the right, Nashua's to the south, and again just shows the different construction contracts that we're envisioning right now. As I said again, at least 5. The project we're talking about tonight is the Orange project, highlighted there in orange, to replace Babusick Lake Road Bridge and the Wire Road Bridge over the feet. The estimate for this project is around $22.5 million of the total construction budget for this. And this project is needed to be completed before the section that's underneath it, what we're referring to as the 13761C project. Before that can go, we have to get the new bridges in place. This probably doesn't need a lot of explaining, but there's the need for the project is to reduce congestion, improve the ability to move up and down the corridor. With congestion, there's some safety concerns as well. We're going to be doing some other improvements, improving sight distance along the turnpike, replacing old guardrail and replacing it to new standards, widening shoulders, and installing new signage that will all be included as part of the project. And as I mentioned, we're improving the bridges and the structures that carry some streams underneath the turnpike. For the 13761B project, the one in Merrimack, again, as I mentioned, these need to be replaced before the turnpike can widen because there are those piers right now that exist right at the edge of the pavement and are in the way. As part of this project, we also aim to improve bike and pedestrian facilities on both roadways. This is just a slide to kind of highlight how much wider the turnpike is getting to accommodate that third lane. So again, it's not just adding the lane, but we're increasing that shoulder width on the inside and making sure we have full shoulder width on the outside as well. So getting a little bit deeper into Babusick Lake Road. Now again, this bridge is not in the greatest condition now. It's on the state's red list. We are proposing to replace the bridge pretty much right where it sits now. We're going to be raising it about 5 feet to accommodate getting rid of the piers. In the end, we'll have new sidewalks on both sides of the road that extend from Rose Lane to O'Gara Drive. And as part of the widening, we're also going to include some stormwater treatment on the project for both the two side roads and the turnpike to make sure we're hitting stormwater treatment goals. This slide compares the existing width of the roadway. So you can see there are about there are 12-foot lanes now. The shoulders are quite narrow at about only 2 feet, and there's the sidewalk on the south side. So this is if you're looking east along the roadway, how this is oriented. So we're going to go to 11-foot lanes, but we're going to include 5-foot shoulders to help with bicycle accommodations. And then we're going to add that sidewalk on the north side of the roadway. So the plan for the bridge is right now it's a 4-span. So there's the 3 piers. Those are in that hatched color underneath, and you can see the new bridge is going to be one big long span. So we'll be removing those piers adjacent to the road and in the median of the turnpike. This will be a little over 130 feet long. So this is just an image of the plans we have up here that we've been talking to. I'll go through the color scheme a little bit, just so people who have gone up to the plan and people that view this online after. Yellow is the new roadway. The brown is the shoulders that we're providing. The purplish color is new sidewalk, so you'll see that on both the north side and the south side of the road. The orange color is driveways that we will be regrading and repaving as part of the project to tie the new wider roadway into existing people's driveways. The pink are some of the buildings. We've colored in the ones that are closest to the road just so that they stand out a little bit better from the aerial image. And the green is slope work. So this is earth that will be disturbed adjacent to the new roadway. The that we'll be planting grass on when we're done. And then kind of in the upper right-hand corner, that's one of the stormwater treatment basins. The orange ring around it is our berm and maintenance road that the state will use to maintain that stormwater basin in the future. So I know there's been a lot of questions about what is this going to look like during construction. So we're going to make sure that we keep two lanes open almost all the time. There will be portions during the workday where they may utilize flaggers to have alternating one-way traffic. But the intent is, especially during the busier parts of the day, is to make sure that 2 lanes are open for traffic. So in the spring to summer of 2025, we're going to build a temporary bridge to the south of the existing structure. So traffic will be on the road right where it is today, and pedestrians will be able to use the existing sidewalk. While they're doing this, there are also some utilities located on the existing bridge that we're working with those utility companies to get those relocated. That relocation effort starts about the same time that our contractor would start building the temporary bridge. As soon as both of those two things have occurred, we will shift traffic onto that temporary bridge. This will allow the contractor the room and space to build the new bridge. Well, first they have to remove the old bridge and then build a new bridge in its place. And so the second plan that we're showing is showing all the same information as the first. It's just showing where that temporary structure is going to be located. And really helps to explain why we have all that slope work on the south side of the bridge. So during that second phase, as I mentioned, so it's going to start, we anticipate in the fall of 2025 and extending through the summer of 2026. Traffic will be on that temporary bridge, 2 lanes, so 1 in each direction. There's also a temporary sidewalk. Or not temporary, it's a sidewalk on the temporary bridge. So pedestrians will continue to be able to walk along the south side of the road. And during this time frame, they'll construct the new bridge. This is where the construction schedule really can start to depend on the weather. So if we have a mild winter, the contractor may decide to work a portion of that and finish a little earlier, or if it's a difficult winter, this could extend into, say, the fall of 2026. So after the new bridge is constructed, we move into our third phase of construction. So traffic's back on the new structure. We will, as part of that construction, we will have built the new sidewalk on the north side of Babusick Lake Road. So we'll be able to shift pedestrians onto that side while they clean up and remove the temporary bridge on the south side and finish that sidewalk construction on the south side. Once the new bridge is operational, we'll give the utility companies the opportunity to relocate themselves back onto the structure and are working with them on nailing down that timeline. So for Wire Road, a lot of the needs are the same. It's a redless bridge. For this, we had the opportunity to look at constructing the new bridge to the north of the existing. So there will be no temporary bridge. And I'll get into that in a little bit. Currently, there's no sidewalk on Wire Road. We're proposing a new sidewalk on the north side within the project limits. And again, there's some stormwater treatment basins that will be constructed as part of the project. So existingly, Wire Road has 2 11-foot lanes and narrow 2-foot shoulders. And understand it's probably feels quite treacherous trying to walk across that bridge in its narrow state. So at the proposed condition, we're going to keep the 2 11-foot lanes. We'll widen out to 2 5-foot shoulders to help with the bicycles. And we're going to add that 6-foot wide sidewalk on the north side of the road. This bridge needs to be a little bit longer because it doesn't cross the turnpike perpendicular. It's on a little bit of a skew angle, so that requires it to be 150 feet long. But again, it's going to be a single span bridge, and we'll remove the existing piers as part of the construction. So again, this is the plan that we've been talking to on this side of the room. It's the same color scheme. You'll see here we have two stormwater treatment basins proposed as part of this project. One in the northwest quadrant, one in the southeast quadrant. Those will collect water from Wire Road and ultimately the turnpike as part of that project. You can see the alignment, or the roadway's been shifted to the north. So the teal hatch is showing where the existing bridge is, and that it will be removed at the end of construction. So the sidewalk on the north side is going to start on the west end, right where our project ends, and extend all the way to the east to McGraw Bridge Road. Because we shift to the north, we get a little bit closer to Babusick Brook on the northeast quadrant of the bridge. So we are proposing a retaining wall along that portion of the roadway to avoid any impacts to the brook. So just zoomed in a little bit here to highlight the shift in the new bridge location. So this is our phase 1 construction. Would start in the spring of 25. And we would build the new bridge in its entirety and some of the approach roadway work while we maintain traffic on the existing bridge right where it is today. Summer of 26, we would be able to open the new bridge. That's the anticipated date to both traffic and pedestrians at that point. So we should have most of the sidewalk built, certainly on the bridge, and much of the approach work will be done. And really using the rest of 2026 to do some project tie-in work. What will be taking a little bit of time here is our existing utilities on the Wire Road Bridge that need to move from the old bridge to the new bridge. So that will be occurring in 2026 as well. And that has to be completed until we can get to phase 3 and remove the old bridge and do that final project cleanup work. So we're anticipating this will be in the fall of 2026 or potentially even spilling into 2027. For people driving on the turnpike, there will be intermittent construction impacts along that roadway throughout the construction duration of this project. So from 2025 to 2026, we have to reconstruct some of the drainage under the turnpike, and we have to remove the existing bridge piers and the existing bridge abutments. We have to take the old bridge out. So you'll see various lane shifts, but we're keeping 2 lanes going in each direction throughout the day. And there will be some nighttime lane closures and some rolling roadblocks. That's where we slow traffic down on the turnpike to give a gap where there's nobody going under the bridge for a good portion of time for the contractor to say, pick up an old beam and do it safely without having to worry about people driving underneath while they're doing it. So that will be happening intermittently between 2025 and 2026. And those instances are typically get noticed well in advance. At this point, I'll hand it over to Dina to explain the right-of-way process.
Thank you, Brian. All right, so what we need to do is we need to create the property impact plan, and that's currently being worked on as we're sitting here tonight. Maybe not right now, but maybe tomorrow morning. Anyway, so what happens is we have to do evaluation of the impacts to the project and the people that own property that abut our property. We we will ride the project, we will look at the impacts, we'll take a look at the severity of it, and we will assign an appraiser to it. They will value the land. We will then send out an agent who will present that appraisal as the value of fair market value for the property impacts to your land. Then we'll enter the negotiation stage. Then hopefully we'll sign and seal, deliver the agreement. But if we don't agree, you do have the right to, negotiate further with us. But ultimately, if we can't, we just reach a stalemate, then we'll actually end up doing the eminent domain, and we could go through the condemnation process. And sometimes that sounds awful. Really, sometimes it's not. It may depend upon, there might be a flaw in your title, and the only way we can obtain the ownership of those impacts is by filing the condemnation. So it might sound awful, but sometimes it's really not a bad process. And it's your due process. If you don't agree with us and we just can't reach an agreement, this is a way for you to be heard by someone other than ourselves. The other hat that my agents wear is sometimes there may be a gate or a sign that's in the way that we will help you go through the relocation process, and we'll help you move that sign. It won't be part of the construction project. I think I've covered it real briefly, but I would like to invite you, if you are an impacted property owner, please come talk to me on the side. I can help you a little bit more with a little bit cleaner detail, and I can also give you some booklets or pamphlets that will help guide you through this process, so that when we do come out and meet with you, you're not surprised at what will be happening. Okay? Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks. So just where we are in the schedule, we're wrapping up our final design details through this year. So if we're having this meeting, obviously we're getting input tonight that we're going to incorporate into the plans the best we can. And through that right-of-way acquisition process, that will take us through the end of to fall of 2024. We do need some environmental permits as part of this project. So we're within 250 feet of Babusick Brook. So there's a shoreland permit we'll be obtaining. We have to meet our stormwater compliance regulations, and then there are a few wetlands that we're impacting as part of the project as well. So we'll be seeking a wetland permit for the project. So all of that effort will wrap up towards the end of 2024 in the fall. Right now, it's the end of October. We're aiming to solicit bids from contractors. So assuming we get a bid that's favorable to the state, there's a process to get that person under contract. And so we wouldn't expect construction to really start in earnest until sometime in the spring of 2025. As I said, we're anticipating that will go through the fall of 2026, but with the weather and utility relocations being somewhat wildcards for us, it could extend into 2027 somewhat. So ran through that presentation fairly quickly. So right now we're in the questions portion of the presentation. We would ask that you either, if you do have a question, just so we can get it as part of the recording, if you could either come up to the table and speak into one of those mics, or we have a standing mic there in the aisleway. So at this point, I'll just open it up to any questions people might have or comments.
And while everybody's kind of coming to the microphones, well, certainly do come up. One thing that we were asked to remind everybody of is that tomorrow, everything that was on the presentation tonight will be available on the YouTube channel for the town of Merrimack. And so thank you.
And it will be on this website that we're showing right now as well. If not tomorrow, the day after.
Finley Rothaus, 14 Kittredge Lane. I don't know if it would fit into the project or whatever, but where O'Gara Drive comes off of Babusick Lake Road on the east side, south, there's turn patterns in there going into the schools, and I don't know if there's an ability to have an extra lane in that area. Just throwing it out there, it doesn't matter to me. I can make it work the way it is, but it's been questioned in the past by the school district. So putting it out there.
So is that for people driving eastbound, taking the right, or?
Correct. Yep,
Okay.
eastbound, it backs up, so, again, it's workable, but if there was something that could be done during this process, it'd be very helpful.
Okay,
Thanks.
thank you.
Malcolm Paradise, 18 Drake Lane. On the Wire Road project, I'm the abutter right on the right going north, I guess, on Wire. I have the same comment Finley had. We have tons of problems with the road from the light on the DW to the bridge whenever there's an event at the high school or on the school property. This is the time you're wrecking that road. Time to make it 3 lanes or 4 lanes and give us turn lanes going into the school properties and out of the school properties. It would be huge. So Finley is absolutely right. Because we're going to end up doing it as a town probably 5 years from now. Do it now, get it done with.
Thank you.
Mark Epstein, 15 Wire Road. I'm one of the abutters. We've already talked. Just so that I understand correctly, on those plans, the blue line, that's only a temporary,
So the thin blue line is the existing town right-of-way line.
okay. The other line, the green is what?
The green would be, on your parcel, would be a temporary easement.
So the temporary easement goes away after construction,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure that that's clear. All right.
Thank you. Any other questions? Make sure there's a green light on.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Am I coming through all right?
Yes.
Yeah. My name is Nelson Disco, and I'm chairman of the Merrimack Town Center Committee. Our committee is charged with the task of making a more walkable town for the center of Merrimack, especially in the center of Merrimack. And I want to applaud the inclusion of sidewalks that you've done here. I wish we had one on the on both sides of the road, crossing at the Wire Road, but that is that's something we. Anyway, we're very grateful for what we've got, and we wish we had more. But it all ties in with another project, which is coming, and I don't know if you're. I presume you're working with those who are designing the new Babusick Brook Bridge on Route 3, which will tie into this. And I'm hoping the interface is a smooth and continuous one for pedestrians and traffic. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Guys are a quiet group.
Hi, Paul McKelvey. I am the town manager for the town of Merrimack. I just have a question. You said that you're going to be planting grass on some of these easements. Take it DOT is going to be responsible, or Turnpike is going to be responsible for cutting that? Because as of right now, it's up to DPW, especially on Wire Road, to trim back when the brush gets high enough. So with all this extra grass, I guess the question is, do you expect the town to maintain that grass, or is the state going to maintain that grass?
So we would only maintain, so let's back up a little bit. So there's been some questions asked this evening. The funding for this project this evening is through the Turnpike Capital Program. So what that means is all of this is being paid for with the toll revenue. So what that really means is we have to focus all of those funds on toll revenue items. So in this case, our goal is really the F.E. Everett, and the only reason we're doing the bridges is because we need to widen the F.E. Everett. So that's kind of why we're doing the roads and why they're more like a specific project to those items. Any of the grass areas that are along the Effie Everett, we would maintain underneath our regular roadway program. Anything that would be on the roadway itself, whether it's wire or babusic, would just go back to its natural state. Let's say it's a wooded area today, it'll eventually fill in with a wooded area because we're not going to come back and maintain those. Some of the areas that fall within somebody's front area, like take for instance, where Wire Road is shifting up the page over here, that extra green area becomes extra lawn for somebody else to maintain in front of their home if they choose to.
All right. So you're not planting trees or anything when you take out the bridge. You're just gonna let it go, and if they grow, they grow. If not, they don't. All right.
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, with that being said, if there are any additional questions, we will certainly hang around for as long as it takes. We really appreciate everybody coming out this evening. I think there were a lot of great questions asked. Again, don't forget about that YouTube channel, and have a great evening. Thank you.